Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'll be explaining our 10-day forecast here in the New York City area. El Nino effect. If you want to, when you want to keep up with me, just go to weather.com, and wherever is your city here in the Northeast, just keep that city there. So you're Philadelphia and you're watching this video right now. Just keep your forecast and just look at your forecast. I'll explain what's actually causing this because the entire country is gonna be warm as a whole. So it wouldn't make sense for me to just move you to New York City's forecast just so that you can see the effects El Nino has. You're already feeling it as of right now. So let me show you what those effects are. 51 degrees today. It hasn't kicked in yet. 59 degrees tomorrow. This is where El Nino effect begins to kick in. We start to reach that zonal pattern that we were talking about. You can't see it, but just go to Weather Underground. Just keep your city there, especially if you live in the northern tier of the country, and you'll be able to, and you're gonna get the perfect idea of what I mean by this just by reading out New York City's forecast. 59 degrees in New York City on Thursday, 61 on Friday, 63, 64, and 61 on Monday. All 4 days with a potential of record-breaking temperatures. Rain, a chance of rain on that day, of course, and then the temperature starts to 53 degrees because of a cold front. Of course, the real cold weather does not get here till Thursday into Friday, where our high is going to be 48 degrees and our low will be 39 degrees. Now, before Friday, what is causing this warm pattern is an El Nino pattern. It's called zonal flow. Let me get that out for you guys right now so you can see what that looks like. Okay, let's see. Let's use this guy. So we're gonna go back and I'm gonna show you what a zonal flow looks like. So let's put this guy here. That's what I want. You're gonna go to, wait. No, that's not what I want. Let me put the cursor where it belongs actually. Back. Bring it back up. Delete. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna backspace that a bit. Go. All right, so keep in mind a zonal flow keeps the northern branch of the jet stream, the polar branch, locked up to the north. So it basically goes right across, like right along the border of Canada and the US, keeping the cold air locked in Canada, and the southern jet stream is superimposed. It's now like the strongest jet stream. So now you have a lot of warm air being fished out of the Pacific and thrown into the United States. But let me show you what that looks like in graphic form. Let's type here. Let's type over here. Let's type in. Let me read you the meaning first of zonal flow. So zonal flow is a meteorological term regarding atmospheric circulation. So following a general flow pattern along latitude lines as opposed to meridional flow, which is when the jet stream dips in the east and is blocked by a high, and or dips in the west, either trough on each side of the country, and then you have like a ridge in the middle part of the country, and you get that kind of a zigzag pattern. That's a meridional flow. So that's just your progressive flow. When you got like a zigzag pattern that keeps moving on, progressive flow. And meridional flows that we had yesterday, last winter, and July, when the NAO actually went strongly negative and it blocked the trough from moving any farther east in the eastern area of the country. So what a zonal flow in the context physics connotes a tendency of flux to conform to a pattern parallel to the equator of a sphere. So that means the equator is a straight line that goes all the way around the world. The polar jet stream takes that shape. It goes all the way around the world, but it does not dip. That's what it does. So let me show you a picture of what that might look like here. So a zonal flow, I'm going to show you a northern or North Pole picture of it, if it actually kind of gets its act together. So, here it is. Hopefully you can see that. So if you look here, you see the jet stream right here. I'm passing my finger. It's actually it's passing right over the Pacific Northwest, right into, Michigan, right over New York City, New York State, right over New England, pretty much. And then anything south of that is being controlled by the subtropical jet. Above that, right over here where my hand is, this is where all the cold air tends to be locked up. So lately, we have been kind of a pattern more like this. Let me show you it in color. And this is what it looks like, really. Let me just kind of... Okay, so this is what it looks like, really. Warm air to our south, mild air to our north, and then the cooler air locked up in Canada, obviously. But as we head into next week, that's going to change. You're going to have a huge dip in the jet stream. So let me show you a trough in the west to show you what that looks like, so you can get the idea what that looks like. So let me just delete this guy. I don't even know why I didn't put that. Okay, put it right over here. Gonna write El Nino, and I'm gonna show you what exactly is actually happening, what is actually causing that to actually happen in the east, and you'll see what I mean when I give you like an idea. Like, ignore what's actually saying. It's just I'm typing it in Spanish. I'm Hispanic, so like when I type in Nino, I tend to put another I in front of the other, in front of the second N, because they don't seem to have the other letter we usually have in our alphabet. So let's see here. So let's see an El Nino pattern. This is very okay. So let's see. This is the best illustration I can give you guys. So let's see. Let's let that clear out. Perfect. It cleared out. So over here in this area, you have a low pressure system. We see that now. That there's a low pressure system here energizing. And every time that happens, especially near Alaska, you get a parade of storms that come into the Pacific Northwest. That's what's happening. Our northern jet stream is actually right up here. It hasn't dipped at all the entire, especially in the east, hasn't dipped at all since like last year. And then you have the persistent extended Pacific jet stream, which is amplified of a storm track and keeps it cool in the south and wet along the east coast into the southwest. However, as we go into next week, that's going to change. You're going to see a dip in the jet stream. So what that means is that, let me see if I can go back to images. What that means, what this means is that at the beginning of so I'm going to show you this for a reason here. So this is what I'm going to show you. The reason why I'm showing you this is because in the beginning of the week, you're going to have something similar like this, but it's going to dip in the western part of the country. We're going to go back to progressive flow, but the difference is this one is moving a little bit slower. It might be here most likely it's going to be here by Christmas week, going into New Year's week, basically, as we prepare for the new year, ring in the new year. This guy's going to move in further east. And what's going to happen by the time we get to New Year's, we'll be celebrating a very cold start to 2016. There's a possibility that once this gets to the east, this is moving so slow that we can actually see a coastal storm develop off of this. Should this happen, it could happen around Christmas Day, a day after Christmas Day, or near between Christmas Day and New Year's Eve. Right now, it's a bit sketchy though. So we're going to keep it like that. Now, let's see what's going on over here. It's like a view more panel here. I don't know what that is about, but let's see. So, and let me just reiterate what a polar vortex is to you guys. So, remember last year there was this hype about the polar vortex? It's like a huge low pressure area in Canada spinning, crazy like, and it's very strong. So the jet stream is going to begin to slow down. At the time when this happens, a piece of cold air is going to come from that polar vortex. It's going to invade the Midwest and the Northeast. The polar vortex, I'm going to show you a huge picture of it. It actually has a wide, the range in which it covers is insane. It is wide, it is huge, and you need to know about this. It's a very cold air mass. So here's the polar vortex. Notice like this whole thing right here is the polar vortex. This is the reason why we got snow, a lot of snow in basically New England last year. New York City really missed out. It was more like 22, 36 inches in New York. But this year we're thinking that the polar vortex will come down just about down here. And what that's going to do is going to keep this entire area dry. But because it's going to be over here, but centered over here, the cooler air is going to curve a bit more closer to the coast. So what that means, you're going to have a bit of warm air coming just off south of Washington, D.C. is going to curve up right over here along the coast, right off the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream temperatures are actually pretty warm right now. They sit in the 60s, some spots 70s. That's still holding up. Should we get a coastal storm when this guy pops in like this, we could wound up with a very active storm track. We're going to actually enter a reactive storm track in the Northeast once the cold air gets here. And that's the main worry. You're going to actually have to enter it during the cold air. Because that means we're going to get a lot of snow, a lot of ice, But let's see what happens. Anything can change in a matter of a few weeks. Of course. But let's continue down. So the El Nino region basically has dominated the pattern. Last year, we had more of a pattern that looked like this. So this was our pattern last year. Region the West, low pressure right south of next week. This was actually going to be the pattern next week. Are you ready? Next week, this is actually taking this year, 2015. If you look at the top over here, this is next week's pattern. Region the West, building in the West, low pressure off Alaska, Aleutian Islands, by the way. I'll be a bit closer actually. You're gonna have a high pressure system forming here, and then you're gonna have a low pressure system just south of that, just forming. And it's gonna ride a jet stream and it's gonna go down like this. So by Christmas Day, that's why the model's actually going all nuts about this cold air, this possible snowstorm in the Northeast, because we have this setup happening again next week. Now, question is it going to stay that way? Right now, we do not know, but what we do know is that NAO and the AO are starting to trend strongly negative as we head into the December timeframe. My next video will actually place more of an emphasis on the NAO, AO negative phases, and I'll just bring you information based on what I see, if it's going to be a blocking pattern or not. Thank you for watching this video. I explained the polar vortex, the El Nino, and the zonal flow pattern, and even a progressive pattern, so now you know which is which. So thank you very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll bring you a lot more weather information, and of course, record-breaking temperature possible this week. The following week, a lot of cold air. Prepare yourself because you might see a couple of frozen precipitation come by. There's actually one that might be exceptionally strong and could be our first named winter storm here in the east. So have a nice day.